All right, so let's start off by just acknowledging that this isn't gonna be one of those quick fix, get a credential tomorrow types of videos. This is gonna be put in your time, follow some of these tips, and then hopefully in the future, you'll get a credential to a higher level event. So for example, it took me probably 2 years from when I started my business, which was 3 years before that I had started shooting seriously, to get a credential. And that was just one credential for that year. It wasn't even multiple events, right? It's taken me 2 more years to get more credentials and be able to actually go to more pro sport games. Now to get a credential, you're gonna need good work. And if you don't have a good portfolio, then I suggest starting out by going to high school games, probably soccer, field hockey, baseball, softball, those sports that are outside, so you have nice light, and where other people aren't really covering them, so it's gonna be easy to go out and cover those. Now I do suggest reaching out to a coach or athletic director before you go to a game, because you don't wanna go to some random game and take photos of kids or adults that you don't know without permission. So what really helped me was photographing ultimate frisbee, because I played in college. When I was a teacher, I started the high school team there, and I just knew the game really well, and there's a lot of great athletes making really athletic plays, lots of emotion, and no one else was really photographing ultimate, which meant I could start photographing on the sidelines right away, and there wasn't a lot of competition. In fact, it's the opposite. All the photographers knew each other really well, so that allowed me to get my skills up in terms of photographing, editing, captioning, things like that, and working on a deadline. Now once I had an established portfolio, I could reach out to local news organizations and photograph some like high school sports, things like that. And I'd get paid like $60 a game, something like that. But it allowed me to say that I had been working for publications and allowed me to expand my portfolio. Once I was able to have a better portfolio, I could reach out to minor league teams. I reached out to a WNBA team, and I just sort of asked, I was like, very politely, if I could have a media credential, if I could come photograph on the court or on the sidelines, on the field. And luckily they said yes, because I had shot for those publications before. They knew I was a serious person that wasn't gonna go ask for autographs. Those sports that don't have as much coverage in New England, the MLS team actually doesn't have a huge fan base. It's a little bit easier to get into there if you're shooting for a blog or things like that, or a small publication. They'll give out more credentials for things like that. So looking for like a small market MLS team or women's soccer, D3 sports, or even just single A baseball, things like that. There's not gonna be a ton of photographers there, so they're gonna have room and they might be accommodating to you. Now when you're shooting the professional games, you're gonna be shooting for either the home team, away team, one of the wire services, potentially a newspaper or magazine, or maybe even some company that needs some images from the game. I shoot for USA Today, which is a wire service, and they're the ones that get me my credential. Now to get in with them, I tried submitting my portfolio for, I don't know, a year or something like that, and probably just never got seen, but actually probably just wasn't good enough. So what actually helped me out was networking and a little bit of luck. And I don't mean the networking where you're just spamming other photographers, just asking them for help. I mean genuinely following people, being interested in their photos, commenting on their photos every once in a while, and making a real connection. I met a photographer who shoots for USA Today Sports at some photo event, and we exchanged contact info, and over the next 6 months, I actually tried emailing him a couple times just to maybe look at my portfolio or give me some advice on sort of where to go next. I didn't hear back at all. So I reached out 2 or 3 times, never heard back anything, which is fine, it happens. People get really busy, they forget that you emailed them, or they just don't have time to respond right away. So then 3 days before the 2017 Boston Marathon, I get a call, a text, and an email that says, hey, your emails haven't gone unnoticed. Are you available to shoot the Boston Marathon? One of our photographers hurt his back and we need to find somebody. That was the first credential I got to a big event through USA Today. So then it took about another 1.5 years where I shot the marathon again the next year, and then I finally was able to shoot some MLB games. And in 2018, I was really lucky that the Red Sox made and won the World Series, so I got to shoot in the postseason 4 of the 6 home games. So I put in my time and waited for the right opportunities, and I've been lucky enough to shoot all the major sports in Boston, which is awesome, and I can't wait to keep shooting more of them. And I know it could be gone at any moment, so the only thing I know I can do is just keep doing a great job and putting out the pictures that I know I'm capable of. And putting in the time doesn't mean just like waiting for something to happen. It means going out there, finding other work, doing your best jobs, and then just being ready for that moment when it comes. Because all those smaller gigs that I had with small newspapers for 60 bucks a game or shooting ultimate frisbee, all that stuff got me better at captioning and editing and getting things in on a deadline. So it really helped me be ready for that moment when it came during the Boston Marathon, and then I did a good enough job that they kept me around and kept me in mind the next time that they needed something, and then it just kind of snowballed from there, and I've been able to do a lot more things. And yeah, it probably took about 5 years from after I started shooting seriously, but 5 years is nothing in terms of a long career. I could be shooting these games for another 30, 40 years just because I put in the time for those 5 years. I hope you enjoyed those tips and seeing me create this credential desk. And I made the desk a couple years ago, so I figured I'd top it off with all my credentials. So as always, if you enjoyed this, hit the like, subscribe, any questions or comments below. All right, time to drill this in.